Hare Krishna. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakai Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaः. Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharani Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. I want to add few more points on this Janma Karma Chame Divyam Evam Yovetti Tattvataha. So today's point of discussion that one who believes in the activities of the Lord, he will not take birth again. That means those who believe in Krishna is telling my activities will come to me. And this is actually most important verse Prabhupada writes in Bhagavad Gita because it is telling how to go to Krishna. That's what Prabhupada says. Now, what is this Tattvataha means? One understanding we'll see. Now, Prabhuji has explained. I thought I'll also add this point. Tattvata means those who know the real nature. That is what is Tattvata means. Krishna is eternal. We understand what is that spiritual nature, and that is eternal, all blissful knowledge activities. Like Krishna says, who believes in Janma and Karma are eternal. Krishna's birth and his activities. Janma means how Janma can be eternal. That means how a person is always born again and again and again, and how karma can be eternal. Because if I am doing activity, it will have a beginning and end. Then how can karma be eternal? How can Janma be eternal? That is means that Krishna actions are completely different. That is the point we need to understand. How I am taking birth again and again and again. It's an eternal birth and eternal activity. Say I started the class and I'll end the class. The karma also has a beginning and an end. How can it be eternal? And Krishna's action is different. It is not like how we act. We uh, when we are acting, there are so many problems and result is negative. Even though with good intentions, the result will be negative for us. But tattva means there is no need of logical explanation. That is what tattva means. We should understand that God is a person. First point, he can take birth and he can act, but it is not ordinary. Now Krishna took birth. He does it eternally. There are innumerable universes, and Krishna is always taking birth somewhere or other. Now, this is important. Like sun. For us, sun is rising. For sun's point of view, sun never rises. From our point of view, sun is rising because we are tiny and relative. That's why, but sun is absolute. We are tiny and relative. That's why for us, sun is always rising. But for sun, it is absolute. That's why it never rises. That is the point. Similarly, Krishna, there is no birth and death. From our perspective, Krishna is taking birth. Krishna is performing activities because it is from our perspective, from our vintage point of view. From Krishna's vintage, he is always eternal. He is just manifesting his activities. Whatever he does is transcendental nature, and Krishna has many-fold manifestations. His activities are transcendental. To know this tattva means don't try to understand it logically. That is the point. We have to believe he's all pervading and still he's a person. That is another point. He's everywhere. If you are everywhere, how can you have a shape? Like, can we put a shape to air? We cannot give a shape to air. Even fire also we cannot give shape. Water we can put in a bottle and we can shape. These objects will have shape. Now something is all pervading. How can it have a shape? And he is performing activity also, and very blissful activity. If we develop this, then when we develop a loving relation with him, then we will be able to understand to some extent. And another thing is we will be able to achieve the same level of existence also. Same level of existence. Those who believe in Krishna is eternal will also become eternal. They will become blissful and knowledgeful. That is what Krishna is telling. You understand what I am, you will become like that. If you think I am eternal, I am blissful, I am full of knowledge, you also get it. He says that if a person understands the nature of his birth in this world, the nature of his actions in this world, if a person fully understands that God can come, fulfill our desires, if a person understands the reason God is coming, if he is understanding the compassionate nature of the Lord, that is the most important. The mercy of the God is the highest manifestation of his person. His mercy is the highest manifestation. That means when we understand that what exists, to what extent his mercy is manifested, to what extent he can show his limitless mercy, that is, and fulfill all our desires or whatever. That person, and not only that, Lord even can become the servant of the living entity, and he has nothing more to understand. He has already understood everything. That is what is Tattvata. To understand God is the highest degree, means to understand the nature of His mercy. That's what. Janma karma chame divyam. And what Sukadeva Goswami understood when Vyas Maharshi was trying to help him understand Bhagavatam, he ran away from home. And when he understood Aho Bhakiyam Stanakal Kutam Jigam Sayapatyapa Sadvi Lebe Gatim Datri Vishtantanyam Kamva Dayalum Sharanam Brajema. When he heard this, how compassionate Lord is, Sukadeva Goswami understood. Yes, this is what that then he understood what is Supreme Lord. Tattvataha, when he understood, when he heard about the compassion, the mercy of the Lord, and beauty is there, both the things. This is what is understanding. He says Krishna is explaining Janma Karma Chame Divyam, that a person poses into a fundamental different sphere of being, into a fundamental different quality of being. At the very moment when he understands that Janma and Karma of Krishna are different, the nature of his appearance and birth are completely different. They're different from these activities of this world. But on the other hand, judging by the uh, award that a person receives in response to his understanding, it can be understood that it is difficult to for us to conceive logically. Like first is truly understand that God is a person, being a person. He can respond to our desires. Coming here is to even to that level is sometimes very difficult. And important thing is all our problems are because of this only, not understanding that Krishna is a person. Krishna explains the problem in the path of bhakti. He says that the path of bhakti is Vita Raga Bhaya Krodha. If you remember Bhagavad Gita, this comes before this shloka. Vita Raga Bhaya Krodha is Prabhupada writing, oh, this is because Vita, there is Raga, Bhaya and Krodha. Krodha is, this is because of this impersonal understandings only. Why there is Raga, Bhaya and Krodha? Because of fear of relationship, fear of accepting Lord as a person. This is the reason that we are stuck up here. The obstacles is Vitaraga Bhaya Krodha Manmaya Mamapashtata Paho Jnana Tapasa Puta Madbhava Magata. Krishna says the three main problems that characterize our conditional personality which separates us from understanding God as a person. First is Bhaya. Bhaya means fear. Fear of personal existence of Lord. Fear of understanding that God is also person to the highest degree, and then this is the first thing that people have fear. Person is very scary. Already we have so many people in the home. I am not able to handle one more person. It is much more convenient for a person to hide behind some impersonal understanding is much more easier because less forms and designations are easy. And a person says that he is a director, it means he has to cease to be a person and become a director. That is another problem. That means I have to act like a director now. That is also another thing people have problem. When people identify themselves with something, the role, whatever they are given, and it becomes a mechanical set of actions that he performs. Anyway, I don't want to go deep in this. Maybe tomorrow we will continue. If somebody want to know, we can continue on this. But first, anyway, the I told the main reason that Reason is Vitaraga Bhaya Krodha. The reason is that we are not accepting Krishna as a person. Any questions and comments on this? Should I continue on this topic a little more? Yes, Mataji.
Hi, Krishna Prabhu.
Yes.
Yeah, this verse, I'm glad you're elaborating on it. It's a long time issue for me. So, why is it that simply by understanding that Krishna is a person, and not only a person, but the most compassionate person, by understanding that we should not take birth again?
Yeah. What happens if you understand, we attain that nature of that what Krishna is. If I know Krishna is this, immediately I also attain the same nature. That is how we will feel like Sukadeva Goswami. He was in Brahman realization. As soon as he understood Krishna's compassion, he became a devotee. Just by knowing, Hare, he's such a nice person, why I should not be with him? If you have an opportunity to be with the most kind, most beautiful, most compassionate, and most loving, friendly personality, why you will not have, or why you will not opt for it? As soon as you know you want to be with that person, and you know he's just with you, he's so close, and you want to have a relation with you, will you not go for that option?
Well, I don't know, because I feel like I've experienced so action from Krishna, right?
Yeah,
And what else you said? You said something else. Anyway, I feel like I have and I know that, and I feel like I really do know that he is with me every moment. As I'm talking to you, and when I'm not talking to you, I really do feel that I feel like I've actually experienced that he is in my heart. He's let me know in so many ways that he is always with me. But he, even despite my experience, I'm a struggling sadhaka. You know, I am not, you know, in the spiritual world. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I'm having contradictory, experience to what you're saying.
yeah. One is say, I also know that Krishna is there, Krishna with me, but he also want to see that how much serious we are about to have a relation with him. That's what he is testing. Not that we don't understand Krishna as a person. To some extent, we understand. But what he is waiting for us is, are we serious about it? Because things which he has given in this for us in this material world, he wants us to rectify all these things. He wants us to become a better person, and then he is ready to give everything. For Krishna to give, for him does not make much time. He can give it very fast, but he only wants us that we don't misuse and we don't again spoil it. That's why he waits, and for that he wants us to take things very seriously, not for granted. Be grateful and be humble. These are the only two things Krishna is required from us. If we are humble and grateful, he is ready to give anything. And
So
he
therefore,
wants to develop in that direction. Not that we know the path, we know Krishna is there, and he wants us to work in that direction. And Krishna is only going to help. Not that we can do it. We have to make an endeavor. We have to make the desire very serious, intense desire. And any obstacles that Krishna is sending is to help us overcome that and rectify us.
so therefore, it's not sufficient, right, to simply know that he's a person and know that he's a very compassionate person, affectionate person. The other thing that you're saying is required is our own eagerness to be with him. So it's both things, not
What
just.
happens to the degree we understand that he is a person, our desire to be with him will increase also. Presently, the goal is not clear, that's why the faith is less. The goal becomes more and more clear, then the faith also becomes more and more. and then all our doubts also will reduce. We discussed yesterday. One is ignorance, and one is faith, and one is doubts. And Agnyasya, Ashraddhanasya, Samshayatma. Those are the three things that are blocking us. To the degree I develop that understanding that Krishna more and more Tattvata, why we are hearing more and more, that means our faith is enhanced and our doubts are dissipated. Vidyate Hridaya Krandis Chindante Sarva Samshaya. Chindante Sarva Samshaya means all the doubts are gone. And Chiyante Chasya Karmani Drishte Evatmanishware. This is what happens when we overcome the lower modes. Now, because there is passion and ignorance, that is blocking us. That means that even though I have that pure devotional faith, but the lower modes are blocking me, which is not giving me, it is not clearing all the doubts I have on Krishna. Once I get free from all the doubts on Krishna, we know our test. Like, say, Prabhupada said that even if you give $10 million to my disciples, they will not leave Krishna consciousness. And then the person, he was surprised, the guest who came. And then Prabhupada, after that, he told his servant, don't think like that. Nobody gave you $10 million, and if it is not sure whether you'll continue or not if you get it. The point is, because we don't have many things, that's why we are sticking to Krishna consciousness. Krishna gives $10 million. Even I am not sure every day morning I'll come for Bhagavatam class. The point is what we have, but there are so many doubts and there is so much lack of faith also, which is holding us here. And slowly, this association, I know Tattvataha means, okay, I understand Krishna as a person, but still, I'm afraid to have a relation with person. Why? Because even in this material world also, Krishna gave some temporary relationship. Even that I am not able to properly set my temporary relationship. How can I do permanent relationship nicely? Krishna is saying, okay, I gave you something, properly take care of it. At least temporary things you do it nicely, then I can give you something permanent. Even the things which are given to me here, the relationship in my family and all these things, how much I am justifying whatever I got. If I do it properly in a humble state, in a grateful state, then Krishna is ready to give something permanent. It's not difficult for him to give. He wants us to utilize things which he has given properly. The body he gave, how much I am utilizing it properly in Krishna's service completely 24/7. My mind, how much I am utilizing. My energies, how much I am utilizing. The relationship, how I am taking care. If I am doing everything properly, 100% with all my endeavors, then Krishna is ready to give. I know it. I have to make an endeavor. So that to the degree I am understanding this concept, to the degree I'm understanding Krishna as a person, to the degree things becomes more easy. And then I will, then for me it becomes easy because I will be able to depend on him more, and I'll be able to relate to him more. I'll be able to communicate with him. I am able to pray. That's how it happens. To otherwise, if is like I'll tell like what is the important, like in China, if you go to China you will get all the famous paintings of the world, you can get in China in $2, which is $1,000,000 here, you can get in maybe $100 also there. That person will come and say, I'm a new artist, I'm practicing, please encourage me and take it. And you get all the paintings of Leonardo da Vinci or whatever. Mona Lisa also you can get. Now, what is the difference between this Mona Lisa and the original Mona Lisa? It looks same, all the paint, this, that. But when a person stands in front of the picture portrayal of Mona Lisa, he is stuck with awe. He'll get, many people get tears in their eyes looking at that painting. And there is one more painting of Political Sun and all this, the original paintings. When you see, people are just stuck and they get tears in their eyes. Why? Because so much heart is put in that painting. That is the difference. When we develop that relation with Krishna as a person, we start giving our heart to Krishna because he's a person. We don't do things mechanically. But when we don't know, it looks like same painting only, but it does not touch the heart because the emotions are not there. But in another case, its emotion is there. So when we develop Krishna, when we understand Krishna as a person, more and more emotions are put. More and more feeling comes. That is what is a Madhyamadikari. Madhyamadikari Ishware tadadineshu balisheshu dishasya prema maitri kripa apeksha karoti samadhyama. For Krishna is love. That means there are emotions. For seniors, and you want to develop friendship with the equals. That means there is emotions. With the people who are lower than him, he is showing compassion. That means emotion. And who are very atheistic and all, he neglects them. That is emotion. That means the emotional component is very important. If we understand Krishna as a person, then you put your emotion and doing it. We cannot do it mechanically. Just by waking up early morning will not change the heart. Every day attending Mangalarti will not change the heart. But the emotional component is actually what changes the heart. If you know Krishna as a person, then the emotions are put into it. And that will make the difference in life. That will make the difference in the heart. And that will change. And that heart is what is suitable to go to Krishna and be with Krishna all the time. That to the degree you understand is a person, to the degree we put emotions, that changes the heart.
And the comparison, the analogy of, you know, the imitation Mona Lisa, right, is like when we when we're maybe thinking that we understand Krishna as a person, but we're not really. Is that the analogy?
To the degree we are understanding person, we put our emotions into it. I understand a little bit. I may have some emotion, but it is just I am doing arti and a pure devotee is doing arti. There is quite a difference. I may be imitating, because that much emotion is not there. I am not accepting as a person. I know, but not all the time. Maybe few minutes of my arti I may accept in person, but whole day I am with my own things. Every time I accept as a person and start relating to him, then emotions come. Like if a mother has a child, she treats as a person, and she's always feeling for the child because she knows she's a person, and she can always relate to the child and feel for the child and do everything because she accepts. Same thing with Krishna. If somebody is able to accept that as a person and start relating, life becomes very easy for him. Devotion is easy, and he can easily go back to God.
Yeah. One last thing, Prabhu, is when you were making this point about, you know, if we can take care of all the things that Krishna has given us, like our familial relationships here, or whatever it is, possessions that we have, you know, then he will like give us more. I wasn't able to properly connect that part to
What
what we're.
is Krishna has already given us so many things in this world. He's telling you utilize it properly, relate to them properly. Like he gave me energy. Now, if I utilize in his service, then he will give more energy, and I am more qualified to serve him. Like Narada Muni has complete freedom. He has complete freedom. He can travel anywhere. He has so much potencies. He has access for everything. He don't need any visas, anything. Why he has access for everything? Because he never misuses. For me, it is not given because I miss. Lord, similarly, if I if I am able to utilize all my things now, the relationship Krishna gave me in this world, I am not able to deal only with them properly. I am not able to be humble and grateful for whatever I got. I am just always fighting and misusing. Lord says, this fellow is not using it. How can I give something in the spiritual world which is permanent? In a company, if you are joining in India, some of the companies they give prohibition time, like you have to work for 3 months, perform yourself nicely, then you will be regularized. That means you get a permanent job in that company.
Yeah, like here too. Yeah.
Yeah. So that means that 3 months you do nicely, then you are selected. Similarly, Krishna is telling, okay, I gave you something temporary, do it nicely, I'll give you permanent. And here I fight it, I don't utilize, and I'm exploiting and so many things. Then Krishna says, okay, wait a minute, again try.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks. Any other questions, comments? Yeah, we'll continue the part. But this is some nice, because project took that topic, so I just wanted to add some more points to that side too. Now, here Krishna's disappearance, Yadu's disappearance is discussed. This is also very important topic. So we were discussing Janma Karma Chame Divyam. These are all divine activities. Cannot be understood. This is when they quarrel among themselves. This is about Edu dynasty. Influenced by intoxication, with their eyes red like copper because of drinking madhu, then only will they disappear. Otherwise, it will not be possible. On my disappearance, this incident will take place. Oh, this is Krishna is telling. What is this? There is, yeah, Krishna is thinking. Yeah, this is Uddhava is telling to Vidura that Krishna thought like this. The abandonment of Earth's great burden, 18 Akshonis has been affected by the with the help of Drona, Bhishma, Arjuna, and Bhima. But what is this? There is still a great strength of Edu, born of myself, which may be more unbearable burden. And here Vishnu Chakra Thakur we read yesterday that it is the burden of love. And here it is explained that when they quarrel among themselves, influenced by intoxication with their eyes red like copper, then only they will disappear. Otherwise, it will not disappear, and this will happen on my. This will not be possible on my disappearance. This incident take place. The Lord and his associates appear and disappear by the will of Lord. They are not subjected to the laws of matter nature. No one will be able to kill the family of Lot, nor was there any possibility of their natural death by the laws of nature. The only means, therefore, for their disappearance was the make show of a fight among themselves, as if growing in intoxication due to drinking. That so-called fighting would also takes place by the will of Lord. Otherwise, there would be no cause for their fighting. Just as Arjuna was made to be illusioned by family affection and thus Bhagavad Gita was spoken, so the Edu dynasty was made to be intoxicated by the will of Lord and nothing more. The devotees and associates of Lord are completely surrendered souls. So they just disappeared overnight. It looks like they fought, but they just disappeared. Thus they were transcendental. Thus they are transcendental instruments in the hands of Lord and can be used in any way the Lord desires. The pure devotees also enjoy such pastimes of Lord because they want to see Him happy. Devotees of Lord never asserts independent individuality. On the contrary, they utilize their individuality in pursuit of the desires of the Lord, and this cooperation of devotees with the Lord makes a perfect scene of Lord's pastimes. Like that. They are all instruments in Lord's hand, and they want to assist the Lord, and Lord utilizes them in different ways. एवं संचिन्त्य भगवान् स्वराज्ये स्थाप्य धर्मजं नन्दयामास सुहृद sadhunam varta darshayan. This is Lord Sri Krishna, thus thinking of himself, established Maharaj Yudhishthir in the position of supreme control of the world in order to show the idea of administration on the path of piety. Now, this is what Lord wanted to do. Dharma samsthapanarthaya. So to establish. In other cases, he is here utilizing Pandavas as an instrument to establish. This is a very act of compassion of Lord. And you want to glorify his devotees. He is glorifying Bhishma, is glorifying Arjuna, is glorifying Yudhishthir. Like that, he is glorifying his devotees and making them do, even Bhima also, making them do wonderful activities. That is Lord's love for his devotees. And his devotees are also very malleable. The whatever way Lord is showing them, they are trying to change. उत्तारयां धृतपुत्रो वंशः साध्वो अभिमन्युनां स वै द्रोण्य अस्त्रसम्प्लुष्टः पुनर्भगवता धृतः. He says the embryo of Puru's descendant begotten by the great hero Abhimanyu in the womb of Uttara. His wife was burnt by the Uttara, his wife, was burnt by the weapon of the son of Drona, but later he was again protected by the Lord. Now, interestingly, this is Parikshit Maharaj is hearing from Sukadeva Goswami. He is hearing about him discussed by Uddhava and Vidura. So he is hearing that Uddhava and Vidura discussing about him long, long back. And that he is hearing from Sugriva Goswami. And the embryonic body of Parikshit, which was forming after Uttara's impregnation by Abhimanyu, the great hero, was burnt by the Brahmastra Ashwatthama. But a second body was given by the Lord within the womb, and thus the descendant of Puru was saved. This is a direct proof that the body and the living entity, the spirit spark, are different. When the living entity takes shelter in the womb of a woman through the injunction of the semen of a man, there is an emancipation of man's and woman's discharges, and thus the body is formed the size of a pea, gradually developing into a complete body. But if the developing embryo is destroyed in some way or other, the living entity has to take shelter in another body in the womb of another woman. The particular living entity who was selected by to be the descendant of Maharaj Prithu or the Pandavas, was not an ordinary living entity. By the superior will of the Lord, he was destined to be the successor of Maharaj Yudhishthir. Therefore, when Ashwatthama destroyed the embryo of Maharaj Parikshit, the Lord, by his own internal potency, entered into the womb of Uttara by his plenary portion just to give audience to the would-be Maharaj Parikshit, who was in great danger. By his appearance within the womb, the Lord encouraged the child and gave him complete protection in a new body by his omnipotency. By his power of omnipresence, he was present both inside and outside of Uttara and other members of the Pandava family. It's a nice purport by Prabhupada. So nicely is explaining. And we understand this that Lord is present outside also, he is in the womb of Uttara also, and he very nicely protected Maharaj Parikshit. अयाजयद्धर्मसुतम् अश्वमेधैस्त्रिभिर्विभु सोऽपि क्षमाम् अनुजैरक्षन् रेमे कृष्णम् अनुवर्तः. He says the Supreme Lord induced the son of Dharma to perform 3 horse sacrifices. And Maharaj used to constantly following Krishna, the personality of Godhead, protected and enjoy the earth, assisted by his younger brothers. Maharaj Yudhishthir was the ideal monarchical representative on the earth because he was a constant follower of Supreme Lord Sri Krishna. As stated in the Vedas, the Lord is proprietor of the entire manifested cosmic creation, which presents a chance for the conditioned souls to revive their eternal relationship with the Lord and thus go back home, back to Godhead. The whole system of material world is arranged with the program and plan. Anyone who violates the plan is punished with the law of nature, which is acting by the direction of Supreme Lord. Maharaj Yudhishthira is installed on the throne of earth as a representative of the Lord. The king is always expected to be the representative of Lord. Perfect monarchical necessities representation of the supreme will of Lord, and Maharaj Yudhishthira is the ideal monarch. To follow the regulative principles, one need to be fearful of punishment. Then only they will follow, otherwise they don't follow. Both the king and subjects were happy in the discharge of holy duties and thus protection of the citizens and enjoyment of natural life with full cooperation of material nature, followed by the region of Maharaj Yudhishthira and his worldly descendants like Maharaj Parikshit. In the Kali Yuga, the problem is people are so much affected by lower modes. For them to follow the standard becomes very difficult. Even they know they are going to die. There is statutory warning on the cigarette packet only. Beta, if you eat, drink or smoke, you will die soon. Still, alcohol consumption and smoking and all, it is very much told, even though there is a fear of punishment and they are seeing the photo, they keep a photo in India that if you do this, this is uh, it is very dangerous. Still, people cannot give up. Why? Because the taste is very of a lower nature. Of course, in a very subtle level, the living entity want to kill himself. That's why he gets addicted to these things. There is a desire to destroy oneself and a subtle and a psychological level. That's why they go for all these intoxications and all. That is another problem. But in one level, we see the taste is very low, even though punishment is there. And this is what Rupa Goswami says. Manne Kunjara Shaucho. Bhagavatam says actually, Parikshit Maharaj is asking that even a person, he is punished. Again, he does the same thing. He is punished. He goes to the prison, and some people go 2 years prison, 2 times, 3 times, 4 times also they went to prison and come. And here in Hyderabad, one fellow was there. He was snatching the chains. He used to go on some bike and used to snatch chains, and he was caught. 4, 5 times he was punished, and so many cases were increasing. Then one time, police took this fellow. They took to the nearby forest. They killed him. Said encounter. And after that, all other chain snatches they reduce. Then the theft reduced immediately because they are afraid now they will be killed. Just putting in prison didn't work. For some days it worked. Then after that, in Uttar Pradesh also, the government there, anybody, all these rowdy shooters and all, they're shot dead, finish. And all the law and order is set properly because once the person, the fear is needed for controlling. That's a king should be very strong. He should be able to implement the rules without any disturbance. Then it becomes easy for the common people who want to follow. For them, the law, the things becomes easy. So here, Maharaj should not. He's a good person, but he's very strict person also. That is very important. Not just being good. We need to be strict and be able to implement the rules very strongly, and that fear will help a person below to follow them and make advancement. That is the system that is arranged by Krishna. And if the king himself is performing any mistake, then the subjects will get an opportunity to do wrong. That is the reason Krishna didn't want Duryodhana to stay, because he himself is very cruel. He himself is envious, and he himself insulted a very chaste woman in public. Then this is not at all good. Even a small blemish on the king will give opportunity to for the subjects to go wrong in their life. He says, "Oh, even king also is doing wrong. So how can what is so wrong with me? I can also do." Everybody is looking for an opportunity to do wrong. And then when they see the people above, like now presently, if you say, "Why are you doing corruption?" Then the person has very simple answer. He says, everybody is doing, even the big people, the leaders in the society are doing. What is wrong with me? Now they got an opportunity to justify what they are doing. That's why Krishna don't want such kings to stay. If the person is of very high character and high quality, then there is no chance for the people below. They don't have option. They say yes. And that's why the strong leader who is very honest, not only just honest, he should be very strong also in terms of his determination to implement the rules. All these things matters. And Kali Yuga, we cannot expect much because people don't want such strong leaders also. People are who will be elected in the elections, whom they want to choose as a leader, who will help them to gratify their senses. That is the person. Like now elections, how the elections are won. This says whoever gives me 5,000 rupees, bottle of wine, and a plate of non-vegetarian to eat, people go and vote for them. And they say this fellow gave me to eat and drink. Then that's what I want. That means what they are choosing a leader only like that. But here Krishna want kings like Yudhishthir Maharaj to be there, which will help everybody in the society. भगवानपि विश्वात्मा लोकवेदापतानुगः कामान् शेष्वद्वार्वर्त्याम् असक्तः शङ्कयन् आस्थितः. This is simultaneously the personality of Godhead enjoyed life in the city of Dwarka strictly in conformity with the Vedic customs of society. He was situated in detachment and knowledge as initiated by the Sankhya system of philosophy. Well, Maharaj Yudhishthir was the emperor of the earth. Lord Sri Krishna was the king of Dwarka and was known as Dwarkadish. Like other subordinate kings, he was under the regime of Maharaj Yudhishthir. Although Lord Sri Krishna is the supreme emperor of entire creation, while he was on this earth, he never violated the principle of Vedic injunctions because they are the guide for human life. Regulated human life according to Vedic principles, which are based on the system of knowledge called Sankhya philosophy, is the real way of enjoyment of the necessities of life. Without such knowledge, detachment, and custom, the so called human civilization is no more than an animal society of eat, drink, be merry, enjoy. The Lord was acting freely as he willed. Yet, by his practical example, he taught not to lead a life which goes against the principle of detachment and knowledge. You see, the Lord is acting freely, but he didn't act anything. So, attainment of knowledge and detachment is very elaborately discussed in Sankhya philosophy in real perfection of life. Knowledge means to know that the mission of human life is to end all the miseries of material existence, and that in spite of having to fulfill the bodily necessities in a regulated way, one must be detached from such animal life. Fulfilling the demands of body in animal life and fulfilling the mission of spirit, soul in human mission. So such nice purport Prabhupada is writing. That is the point. We have to follow the rules which is going to protect us, which is going to make us happy in this life and attain perfection at the end of life. That's how the life should be. Because the rules causes some problem. By rules, a person in goodness will not have problem with the rules. A person in passion and ignorance is very difficult for him. The rules. He says, "No way, I cannot do it." And Kali Yuga, that is the main problem. They are so much affected by, and we have to empathize also. It is not possible for everyone because the system is so created like this. It is not possible for people to come out of it so easily. And then we slowly, by caring for people, we can bring them to Krishna consciousness. That is the only way we can do it. If we care for them, then it will touch their heart. He says, yeah, this person is Prabhupada. What touched all Prabhupada's care touched all this youth in hippies. They say, oh, this person cares about us. And that actually makes a difference. If we want to preach means you start caring about the person. And we have to take care of other things also. Sometimes we are even family members also. We care nicely, take care of them, and then slowly we can bring them to. And we have to emotionally be very mature also in that way, understanding in an emotional way. And new college students, what we preach and all. What is the main formula is when we care for the boys who come to our programs, immediately they continue staying with us. They are very happy. स्निग्धस्मितावलोकेन वाचा पीयूषकल्पया चरित्रेणानुवद्येन श्रीनिकेतनचात्मना. He says here he was there in his transcendental body, the residence of goddess of fortune, with his usual gentle and sweetly smiling face, his nectarian words, and his flawless character. We can discuss on these verses for a long time, but I'm not taking because we can discuss on many topics because every purport Prabhupada is giving such nice information and realizations. But I don't want to elaborate on every every purport 1 hour. I'm just trying to add 2 3 points to whatever Prabhupada has spoken. Basically, this is what Prabhupada want us to look the purport, but there are other ways also by our acharyas. In the previous verse, it is described that Lord Krishna, being situated in the truths of Sankhya philosophy, is detached from all kinds of matter. In the present verse, it is described that he is the residence of goddess of fortune. These two things are not at all contradictory. Lord Krishna is detached from the variegatedness of the inferior nature, but he is eternal, blissful enjoyment of spiritual nature or his internal potency. One who has poor fund of knowledge cannot understand this distinction between the external and internal potency. In the Bhagavad Gita, internal potency is described as Prakriti. In the Vishnu Purana also, the internal potency of Vishnu is described as Parashakti. The Lord is never detached from the association of Parashakti. This Parashakti and her manifestation are described in Brahma Samhita as Ananda Chinmaya Rasa Pratibhavitabhis. The Lord is eternally joyful and cognizant in the taste derived from such transcendental bliss. Negation of the variegatedness of the inferior energy does not necessitate negation of positive transcendental bliss of spiritual world. Therefore, the Lord's gentleness, His smile, His character, and everything related to Him are all transcendental. Such manifestation of the internal potency or the reality of which the material shadow is only a temporary representation from which everyone with proper knowledge must be detached. Okay, we'll end here. Thank you all very much. Antara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Any questions, comments? You have anything, Mataji? Or it is okay.